Hi there, a warm welcome to you. Thank you for joining the live chat. This week's second live chat. We have three live chats a week, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Uh, Three main topics in today's live chat. Let me welcome the participants first, then we'll get going. Iranian Post joins as Free Somalia, Somalia and Somalia's coast only belong to Somalis. Uh, Nasruddin Hamid says, Sajid, how are you? Really looking forward to unbiased news. Thank you, Nasruddin, for being here. Average Dom says, Sajid, do you think Abiy is favoring Oromos more than Amharas? Let me respond to this question. Well, this is Oromo's turn to rule. This is what Oromos believe, by the way. Abiy is an Oromo. And if ever Abiy got in real trouble, the last card he'll play will be use of Oromia card, ethnic card. That is, no matter what he says, obviously he would give more importance to the region, the group from where he is. It does not mean that he wants to crush each and every Amhara. Problem is that sometimes people quote my comments out of context. It does not mean that he wants to crush each and every non-Oromo ethnic group. Kidus Salis Selassie joined to Kidus is always the first viewer to comment under videos. Are you Kidus? Jafar Jamal joined says Assalamu alaikum. Are you Jafar? Lilu says my views and news is believable and fast news. Thank you, Lilu. Jafar says Abiy is Amhara on his mother's side. Let's not get into this debate because it is difficult to prove the ethnicity of leaders in Ethiopia. You always hear conflicting stories about ethnicity of people in Ethiopia. But his in-laws are definitely from Amhara region. Yes, Sam says, I think when the MOU thing started, Abiy did not expect the reaction. Then he understood it is a no-go. Then they just decided to get some leverage and diplomatic capital, which they spent now. Dani Tisfai joined to says hello, Sajid. Sam, I would agree with you to some extent. And this is what I said too in January, if you remember. If you watched me back then, I said Ethiopia should not underestimate Somalia. Yes, PM Abiy underestimated Somalia. I believe Ethiopia should have implemented the MOU before the election in Somaliland, or it should have involved Abdirahman, others in the discussion which led to the signing of the MOU. Ethiopia made some mistakes. Ethiopian government made some blunders, I would say, and that is why now embarrassment is what they are facing. Let's start with three news stories. Firstly, is what Tsadkan is saying about Tigray shows how alarming the security situation in Tigray. Tsadkan is showing total mistrust of Tigray Defense Force, Tigray fighters. Why is he asking for the deployment of federal forces in Tigray? And he's justifying it, by the way. He gave an interview 48 hours ago to DWTV. He's defending his call for deployment of federal forces. But his call shows how grave is the situation in Tigray. Secondly, it seems the Ethiopian military is after Amhara journalists. Military wants to capture them. wherever they are, those who are not in Ethiopia, those who are abroad, military is trying to bring them back to Ethiopia by signing some agreements. And lastly, Somalia, publicly embarrassing Ethiopia. Ethiopia silent, not a single statement from Ethiopian government so far. Well, Somalia issued a statement yesterday. I did a video on that a few hours ago, or an hour ago. Nisabo says, good evening, Sajid. Abiy places his own self-interest over his ethnicity. Well, he cannot survive on his own. His trump card is that he's from Romy, I believe. Som Hunter says, hello from Somalia. How are you, Som? Angus Shom, photo joined to welcome Angus Som. Rom Ticha joined to welcome Rom Ticha. Farah Abdi joined after some time. How are you, Farah? He says, hello from Hargeisa, Somalia. How are you, Farah? Galmo joined to welcome Galmo. We have Gruel 446A says hello. It's a new name for me, Gruel. How long have you been watching my views and news, Gruel? Simon Tesfaye says hi. Surafal Mehari says, so if Ethiopia gets cheaper port access, is that a success overall? Yeah, I agree. If Ethiopia gets a cheaper access to sea through Somalia, it would be a success. But this is not what Ethiopia planned. This is not what PM Abiy said last year. Ethiopia had big ambitions. Ethiopian government had towering ambitions. It should have placed its feet on the ground. It created regional shockwaves when it raised the issue of access to sea. Yes, it will get cheaper access to sea now because it has managed to highlight this issue. Kenya ready to give sea access to Ethiopia in the form of port use only. Djibouti offering more deals. Somalia to negotiate with Ethiopia. Somalia and interested. Definitely, Ethiopia will get a better deal now. Freedom is not free, says Hi Sajid, the man from land of pure people, Pakistan. PM Abiy's dream, access to seas failed twice. How can you see, Sajid? Well, I think PM Abiy underestimated Somalia. This is what I've been saying. And secondly, I think he delayed the implementation. The delay ultimately led to the freezing of the MOU. MOU has not been discarded so far. We must be clear, by the way. MOU will be, it's in place. Not an agreement, but just an MOU. We'll talk about the fate of MOU after 4 months when Ethiopia-Somalia conclude their talks. Gruel has been watching me for 2 months. He says best content. Thank you, Gruel. Your screen name is new for me. That is why I asked about how long you've been watching my views and news. Cosmo Mosi joined to Cosmosi. Cosmose. He's from Berbera. How are you, Cosmo? Enoch says hello. Dave Johannes says, what is your source of Ethiopia? Why are you focused on Ethiopian news? What's wrong with Sajid focusing on Ethiopia? I'm learning about a new country, a new region. It's a learning for me. You should help me. You should let me read and study about Ethiopia. And sometimes a foreigner can give neutral analysis, I believe. I'm not underestimating local Ethiopian news sources analysts, but majority of them is seriously biased. They do have definitely the capability to report, to build analysis, but they are very biased. Aman Voshe, first member who joined today is Aman. Aman says, here with the shame of Abi's promise. Uh, if you want to be a member, click the link given in description section of live chat or videos. Special welcome to Aman. What would Egypt do next? Will it deploy its troops? Nasruddin says. Well, I think Egypt will deploy its troops to Somalia. Number could decrease, I believe. Deployment will not be close to Ethiopian border. If Ethiopia managed to stop the implementation of all Egyptian troops in Somalia, that would be a big, perhaps, development. We'll have to wait to see. Molu AB is calling me Sajid liar. Som says the new leader of Somaliland region is very lucky not to inherit the mess left behind by the previous leader that is over now. Well, he does have a mess to handle. What about SSC Khatom? That's a bigger mess, I think. Grul says, why Abiy make Ethiopia go through all this? Wouldn't it better just lease Assab? Well, Eritrea is not interested in giving Assab on lease to Ethiopia. I think Abiy tried his best. Sam the Great says, hello Sajid, I wanted to ask your thoughts on how you think the insurgency in the Amhara region will play out. Well, it's difficult to say how will it just end. What is the outcome? But I can say it will go on. I mean, military operations cannot uh, completely neutralize the Fano groups. Rather, Fano groups continue destabilizing the entire region. Entire region is not destabilized. Fano militias, just a few in number last year, are planning to build cores now. So you'll see that region will suffer, people will suffer. And I think Fano will make, it will be able to make some decisive moves if there is some other factors leading to weakening of the government. Then maybe Fano will make some decisive moves towards Addis. So far, Fano is restricted to Amhara, I believe. Oromtica says Ethiopia is only about making the issue of access to sea as foreign policy, not about military base or ammo. Tom Hunter has been watching me since Nagorno-Karabakh. So Rafal says, how connected are you to the different social media talks about Ethiopia? Do you see the analysis that is posted on Reddit? I am not connected with any news source about Ethiopia, Eritrea, or Somalia. I don't know what others are saying about this Ankara declaration, about conflict in Amhara, about Ola. That is how I am able to keep my analysis independent and not influenced by others. I don't know local languages, so I don't know what they are reporting. Don't watch any news channel. Don't watch any YouTube, Facebook, or any the other news outlets. I just get information from people. Then some information is public. I mean, governments issue statements. Ankara Declaration is a public information. I mean, it was posted by the relevant parties. Everyone can analyze. Ilyas says you're not neutral. Let's start, viewers. 16 minutes have passed. Firstly, Tsadkan is defending his suggestion about deployment of federal forces in Tigray. You know that TPLF a few days ago issued a statement mentioning 7 points of criticism against Getachew Group, and one of the points was that Getachew Group asked federal government to deploy federal forces to Tigray. It was Sadkan basically who made this suggestion, and Debretsian tried to raise this issue to paint Sadkan and Getachew as anti-Tigray. That is why Sadkan appeared in an interview around 48 hours ago and he explained his position. Why is he asking for the deployment of federal forces in Tigray? He wants the border to be manned by Ethiopian National Defense Force. Secondly, he wants deployment of federal forces to the gold mines of Tigray and to the routes which are being used by gold smugglers. By the way, the numbers being shared by Getachew Reda about gold smuggling from Tigray are very exaggerated. He claimed that 37 or 38 quintals of gold were smuggled out of Tigray in the last 3 months or 1 month, I think. I don't think that this gold is being illegally dug out and then smuggled out of Tigray into Eritrea and then onwards to Dubai. I think Getachew is deliberately exaggerating the numbers here. I'm not denying gold smuggling in Tigray, but the number which Getachew and Satkan Group is sharing is very exaggerated. I mean, 37, 38 quintal in 3 months and multiply by 4, it means that in a year there could be around 150 quintals of gold transported, smuggled out of Tigray. Numbers don't make sense, I believe. Just calculate the price of this gold in international market. Getachew, Sadkan, definitely exaggerating number. Why? Because they are saying that TPLF, they're saying that TPLF, the Bratzian people are looting Tigray's natural resources. They are robbers. They are not politicians. That is why they're exaggerating numbers. But any gold smuggling ongoing from Tigray? Yes. And situation at gold mines is pure lawlessness. This is what we have learned, that there is no rule of law, no government control in the areas where large gold mines are located. Who's in charge there? Commanders, military commanders are in charge there, TPLF people in charge there, youths in charge there. And they are colluding with foreigners to dig out gold. And then vehicles of international humanitarian organizations are being used to smuggle this gold out of Tigray, mainly through Eritrea and some through Amhara region to not through Amhara, but somehow the gold is taken from Tigray to Addis reportedly. Route is used sometimes through Amhara, sometimes through a far region. So, Getachew and Sadkan, part of the same group, they are basically admitting that the government has no right in the areas where gold mines are located. That is why they are calling for the deployment of federal forces there, deployment of Ethiopian National Defense Force there. And there's nothing wrong with the deployment of federal forces. I mean, if federal forces are to be deployed to protect Tigray's natural resources, then deployment should be backed. But if federal forces deploy to the gold mines, then all the gold will be sold to National Bank of Ethiopia. Tigray definitely will get money. I think regions, I believe, do get money from look at the price of gold when they sell it to National Bank of Ethiopia, but the price which they get is lower than what they get in black market when they smuggle. Uh, the Betsen group is opposing the deployment of federal forces in Tigray in the areas of gold mine. Let's see. Tsadkan is defending. He's saying that he is working to protect the interests of the people of Tigray. It is in the interest of the people of Tigray that gold mine should be protected by federal forces. Otherwise, some Tigray military commanders, TPLF, they'll just dig out whatever is there under the ground in Tigray. Abdi Karim Farah joined to welcome. Abdi Karim is a member too. Says, Hi Sajid, do you think that Ethiopian troops will stay in Somalia after Ankara? I believe they'll stay. I think Ethiopian troops, whether Ankara declaration is implemented or not, it's difficult to expel Ethiopian troops. You saw what happened in Ras Kamboni, that federal government suffered a crushing defeat at the hands of regional forces there. Ethiopia has aligned with Jubaland, and you saw pictures of Vihanojula with Jubaland deputy president who visited Addis Ababa 2 days ago. Jubaland is now a key ally of Ethiopian government. Ethiopian troops are there to stay in Somalia, no matter what happens to the Ankara declaration. Now, secondly, viewers, Amhara journalists could be in trouble. Those who fled Ethiopia and they took refuge in some African countries, they're in trouble, it seems. Teddy is asking about update on conflict between Fano and ENDF in Matimma. I'll do a video on that if I get details from the area. Problem is that all day Profano sources report about Fano's activities. Fano's wins, rather, Fano's gains. If you believe they're reporting by now, all ENDF soldiers would have been killed. Problem, they just make up stories, they exaggerate Fano's gain, they exaggerate military's losses. You cannot trust them. I only report about those developments in the region which are of significance and which are being confirmed by non-Fano sources too. That is why my reports about Fano are less in terms of numbers, but I generally make verifications before speaking about fighting in an area, before speaking about gains or losses. Now, where's Ethiopian military chief met with Muhoozi Kainerugaba, Ugandan chief of military, son of Yoweri Museveni, and the two have signed an agreement reportedly. The agreement is about action on criminals who are working in the guise of refugees. Which criminals? Any Ugandan refugees in Ethiopia working in the guise of refugees, or any Ethiopian refugees in Uganda who are basically criminals, according to Ethiopian government, working in the guise of refugees. I am not aware of the activity, criminal activities of any Ugandans in Ethiopia. But yes, several Amhara journalists are based in Uganda. This is what I learned. Some YouTube channels are being operated by Amhara journalists from Uganda. Uh, Ethiopian government cannot gain access to Amhara journalists who are in Europe, who are in the US, though they managed to block Ethio 360, by the way. Ethio 360 people's main channel blocked, YouTube channel blocked. They tried to make other YouTube channels too, but they could not, I think. But and and I think these people, the Ethiopian journalists, they were definitely crossing red lines. It was easy to get them banned through YouTube. But Ethiopia perhaps cannot take direct action on the Amhara journalists based in Europe and America. But in Africa, anything is possible. That is why I think the agreement signed between Muzik and Rogaba and the military Chibanjura is about Amhara journalists. Ethiopian government wants Ugandan government to take action on those Amhara journalists, Amhara activists who are based in Uganda, and they are reporting in support of Fano, and they are criticizing the Ethiopian government reportedly. So there is no mention of Fano, there is no mention of Amhara journalists in the agreement, but I talked to a few people and they confirmed to me that the main target of this security cooperation is Amhara journalist presence in Uganda. Rom teacher says there is no hole, there is no gold smuggled from Tigray. All is just ways to facilitate deployment of END. Well, if no gold is being smuggled out of Tigray, why is the TPLF silent? Because people are accusing TPLF, the Bratzian military is being accused. I think where they also confirmed, if you remembered, that gold was being illegally mined and smuggled out of Tigray. And where they opposed the deployment of federal forces, when Tsadkan gave this suggestion to federal government to deploy federal forces in Tigray, where they opposed it in that meeting with PM Abiy. But where they, if you remember, in some recent press talks confirmed that gold mining was a big problem in Tigray. So how can you say there is no gold being smuggled out of Tigray? Let's not talk without facts and without any argument. Simon said, what is the status of disarmament of TPLF? No, TPLF, Tigray Security Force. I think around 300 are being disarmed on daily basis. You can calculate 75,000 going to be disarmed. 300 daily, it means that within a few weeks, they'll be disarmed completely. 75,000, not completely means 75,000. Then in next, Tigray has a standing army of over 200,000. In this phase, 75,000 will be disarmed. Then others after a few months, gradually. Last viewers, I did a video a few hours ago with the title Huge Embarrassment for Ethiopian Abiy Ahmed. Somalia's Villa Somalia issued a statement yesterday confirming that Ethiopia-Somalia talks will only be about access to sea for trade purpose. So it seems that now Ethiopia is not going to get any military base, naval base in Somalia. Do watch that video and give your comments about it. Ethiopia is publicly being embarrassed by Somalia. Somalia issuing statements telling how to interpret UNCLOS declaration. Ethiopia silent. Rather, Ethiopian regional states are issuing statements calling the UNCLOS declaration a huge diplomatic win for the Ethiopian government, which it is not, I believe. TT says, you keep saying disarm, but I can show you videos of Tigray forces training right now. They lost it on the YouTube channels every day. Well, training will continue. Tigray has every right to have police. It has every right to have militia, strike force too. So it means that they'll these Tigray fighters will become part of police or militia. Are they making new recruitments? This is the question. Are the government people in Tigray making new recruitments? I don't think so. SM says 75,000 viable troops are just disabled ones. I think all are not disabled. There are some disabled too, some women fighters too. Office of the PM says, how can a region with 38 quintal of gold and same balance smuggled be poor? Well, it's poor because the wealth is not reaching the people who deserve to have it. I mean, ruling elite is fighting to control the gold mines. So the real beneficiary, the people of Tigray, will never get the benefit of the natural resources of Tigray. With 35 minutes have passed, I think we should end the live chat. Today's live chat was this week's second live chat. Tomorrow we'll have this week's last live chat. It was good to be with you. I respond to your questions and read your comments too. Thank you for being with me. If anything I'm missing, I'm not covering, do contact me please through my Gmail sajid672000. It's not easy to cover entire Horn of Africa. I try to cover Ethiopia, Eritrea, main developments in Somalia to Somaliland as well. Sometimes key developments go uncovered. So if there's anything which is missing, do get in touch with me. Or if anything which I need to work more on, do contact me. Thank you for becoming part of this wonderful live chat session. I'll be back tomorrow for the last live chat of this week. See you tomorrow. Till then, bye bye.